There is absolutely no doubt that Jessie completely takes over as the main character in Toy Story 5. Honestly, her character arc in this movie is incredibly beautiful, and she has to deal with a ton of heavy emotional moments. So in this video, we are going to break down her entire journey and look closely at everything she goes through. To really understand what is happening to her now, we have to start with her deepest trauma, the fear of being left behind. Ever since her original owner Emily put her in a donation box years ago, Jessie has never truly gotten over that heartbreak. Back when they used to play together, Emily would always tell her that they were going to be best friends forever and that they would never separate. But then, Emily grew up. She completely lost interest in her cowgirl doll, and just like that, Jessie's entire world shattered because Emily meant absolutely everything to her.
Yay! Oh, Bullseye! We're part of a family again!
Joining Andy's room gave her a fresh start, but down the road, history repeated itself.
I should have seen this coming. It's Emily all over again.
Andy grew up too, and he ended up passing all of his old toys down to Bonnie. Jessie had to experience that whole separation process all over again. Granted, it didn't hit her quite as hard the second time around because she was never as deeply attached to Andy as Woody was. Even so, it was the exact same cycle, having a kid who loves you, only to get given away in the end. When she officially became Bonnie's toy, they developed a really tight bond that felt just like the old days with Emily. Bonnie actually made the same exact promises to Jessie, telling her they would always be together and always be friends. For a while, that gave Jessie that familiar warm feeling of being safe. But because she already has all this emotional baggage from being abandoned before, she is constantly terrified that the exact same nightmare is about to happen with Bonnie. That fear gets way worse now that technology is taking over. Kids everywhere are completely glued to screens, and Bonnie is starting to slide down that same path. For a long time, Bonnie was basically the only kid on the block who still used her imagination to play with physical toys. But eventually, she gets a tablet and starts ignoring her room. Seeing Bonnie stare at a screen instead of playing with her toys triggers Jessie's deep-rooted fear of abandonment. Because this happened with Emily and then happened with Andy, Jessie genuinely thinks history is repeating itself for a third time. She falls into a really dark mindset where she starts believing she is just a bad toy. In her mind, she thinks she is failing at her only job because every single kid she loves ultimately gets tired of her and moves on. That internal struggle is exactly what her journey in Toy Story 5 is all about. She has to face these old ghosts, stop blaming herself, and finally overcome her fear of being left behind. Later in the movie, Jessie accidentally ends up right back at the old house where her original owner Emily used to live. Being in that space naturally stirs up a massive wave of heavy emotions for her, but without a doubt, one of the single most emotional milestones in the entire film happens when Jessie makes a shocking discovery. Emily actually named her own daughter after her. Jessie finds an old buried lunchbox time capsule under the famous tire swing tree. Inside, there is a photo of Emily with her daughter, alongside a note written to her little girl that says, "Jessie, you'll always be my little cowgirl." Initially, Jessie thought a carving on the tree was about her, but she realizes it was actually meant for Emily's daughter. Finding out that Emily got married, had a kid, and still cherished her childhood doll enough to pass that exact name down to her own baby is a massive deal. This specific scene is so incredibly powerful because it shows the full evolution of Emily as a person. It completely changes the way Jessie views her past. For decades, Jessie defined her relationship with Emily purely by how it ended, feeling forgotten, unwanted, and tossed into a donation box. But this revelation gives Jessie a huge burst of motivation and closure. She finally understands that Emily never actually forgot about her or stopped loving her, she just grew up and went on with her life. This realization helps Jessie learn a massive lesson that she desperately needed to accept: kids are naturally going to grow up. The reality of being left behind, outgrown, or given away is just an unavoidable part of a toy's life cycle. It is not a failure on the toy's part, it is just how things go. Once she finally embraces this truth, all of her crippling anxiety about Bonnie completely melts away. Before this, Jessie was constantly stuck in her own head, trapping herself in a loop where she wanted to make Bonnie happy but was simultaneously terrified of the day Bonnie would inevitably stop playing with her. By the end of the film, she completely conquers that fear. She walks away with a much more realistic, mature perspective on what it means to be a toy. She accepts that the magical bond you share with a kid doesn't last forever, and that is exactly what makes the time you do get together so incredibly special. It is easily one of the most beautiful and rewarding character arcs in the entire franchise.